We've received quite a bit of interest in my free to be workshop, so to that effect, beneath this video is a link that will give you a description for the workshop, and we've also included a special discount. So if that's something you would be interested in, I would invite you to click that link, and I hope that you would find the course to be quite beneficial. It's no secret when you learn that narcissists are driven by an attitude of entitlement. That's part of the definition of what makes a narcissist what they are. They have this sense of self-importance, this sense that says the world owes it to me to do what I say they need to do. And then as a result of that, they can also have the characteristic of being superimposing, going along with that entitlement. Not a good combination. In their minds, they're thinking, well, one way or another, you're obliged to follow my requirements, and I'm going to make sure you know that I have the proper opinions, I have the best priorities, I have the inside scoop on the procedures about how things are supposed to be done. And over time, when you're exposed to that kind of mentality, their entitlement and their superimposing, it gets old. To the point where you're thinking, what? Why do you feel the need to continue to superimpose who you are on me? So you balk and you pull back and you think, I'm going to go ahead and stand up for myself. I'm going to try to explain why I feel the way I do. I'm going to try to get that person to coordinate. Now, my question to you is, when you are in that kind of mode where you're balking at their overwhelming style of relating, does the narcissist receive your message well? Do they change? Do they apologize? Do they say, hey, my bad? Every now and then they may make a momentary adjustment, but they can be like that proverbial dog that just keeps going back to their vomit. No offense to Gus on that one. They just simply are too full of themselves. And so when narcissists come toward you with their toxicity, and then you let it be known, I'm not playing along with that, what they'll do is they'll double down on the toxicity. They move from being superimposing to being punishing, and that's what they do. And there's something I'm hoping you can recognize, and that is, it's the old proverb that says that crisis reveals character. When narcissists feel like they're at a crisis point with you, and there's a gap between how they think and how you think, their character is revealed, and it's a very ugly kind of thing. Now, basically, when narcissists will double down on that toxicity, the first thing you're going to notice is that they're going to have an even stronger irrational form of anger toward you. Now, they can already exhibit their anger by their agitation and irritability and annoyance toward you. But when you say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't working for me, then it's like, you want to know what anger looks like? I'm going to show you what it looks like. And they can come on really strong with forceful and accusing and blaming anger. They can hold on to grudges and be contemptuous. It's like, oh, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm just going to come down on you with a vengeance. That being the case, control and dominance becomes even more prominent. If you thought that they were stubborn, if you thought that they were hard-headed before, then over time, as you begin to balk at their toxicity, it's like, I can out-stubborn anybody. And they have such a need to force their way into your mind. You will go along with me, or I'm going to make you pay. As a result, their communication emphasizes invalidation. It emphasizes condescension. That's how they think toward you. You don't have the right to think differently from me. Don't you know that you're beneath me? Now, they may not say that out loud, but that's how they think. They offer you messages of accusation, shame, guilt induction. Sometimes they play the self-righteous card. In their mind, it's like, well, I know a whole lot more than you. And frankly, you're really going to be a lot better off if you just do what I say you need to do. That's that self-righteousness. And then they strongly will rationalize, at least within themselves, why it's okay to keep you in your place. In their mind, they're thinking clearly, I'm justified by my emotional reactions. You're not. And so when you let it be known, this style of interacting with you, whether it's inside your marriage or your extended family or workplace or in a social setting, when they come on with that, it makes you realize I can't keep going on like business is normal. This isn't going to work with me. And what begins to happen, I go back to that phrase, crisis reveals character. They illustrate that there's quite a bit of confusion on the inside of themselves that they simply won't come to terms with. Now, let's understand several things about what's happening on the inside. Now, first and foremost, we're going to remind you that narcissists have very poor self-reflection skills. Whenever you let it be known to them, I don't like being treated in the way that you are treating me, rather than thinking like a healthy person might, okay, well, so we need to figure out how we can get along better than this. Why don't we talk? Help me understand what my blind spot might be, or help me understand what I might be able to do so that you and I can have a much better interaction. You ever heard a narcissist say something like that? When you try to use common sense with them, in their mind, it's like, I'm not interested in being objective. You see, part of the problem that they bring that causes them to double down on their toxicity is that narcissists are in chronic compensation mode. Somewhere in their past, and it carries on all the way to their today, they felt like people might think of them as someone who's insignificant. And in their mind, it's like, I can't have that happen. And so they compensate for that fear by letting it be known, I am a force to be reckoned with. You will pay if you come against me. And it's like, wow, where did you learn to think that way? Now, well, one of the things we'll say that helps explain the answer to that question is, somewhere deep in their past, narcissists decided power is the way to go. If you can be the person that says, I get to call the shots, I'm the one who has the ultimate authority here, that means I've made my mark. But actually, it's part of that compensation for being inadequate or being unheard or just someone that nobody particularly cares about. In reality, these overpowering, pushy, toxic individuals are desperately needy. I mean, why else would somebody treat you in such a harsh and disdainful way if they felt full and satisfied and secure? These are individuals who are empty on the inside, but they've decided that they can fill their weak little egos by diminishing you. To figure out that psychological math, because it doesn't work well at all. They have low remorse. They have low healthy guilt whenever something has gone wrong, rather than thinking, ooh, that didn't work out well at all. In their minds, it's like, I've had too much of that remorse and guilt that people have tried to put on me in the past, and it doesn't work. And so they've decided to just make up their own codes of decency, and it all goes back to, what am I going to do? What can I do to make you subordinate to me? Ultimately, when narcissists prove that they're committed to their toxicity, they're reminding you, you never were an insider in my life. You never were someone that I really respected. I may have tried to let you think that, but ultimately, you see, you're someone that I just wanted to use. And then when you let me know that you didn't want to be used, then I'm just going to come down with all of my anger, rather than asking myself, what's that all about? Because they can't think that way. It's huge for you to recognize that ultimately narcissists live their lives before an audience of one. Myself. They've appointed themselves the ultimate person in your universe. You have no right to differ from them, because you see, I'm way too important. So when you call them out and say, this isn't working for me, that shakes their cage, so to speak. They can't deal with that. And they just simply are not going to adjust. In their mind, you're defective. In their mind, your second guessing is completely off base. In their mind, they don't have to have any kind of accountability to you. And so that being the case, I'm hoping you can see what you're dealing with and realize that the further they go down that path towards toxicity and your independence is something that scares them greatly, I'm hoping you can realize, this is a cue that says, I need to hold on to my boundaries. And I've had so many of you people that will say, well, I've tried boundaries and it doesn't work. And what you're implying there is, I didn't get them to agree with me. Guess what? You can establish your boundaries with a narcissist and their agreement is not required. Be nice, but boundaries basically means that you have a definition of who you want to be and how you want to live your life, and you stick with that definition. And if the narcissist says, well, I think that's stupid, and they try to make you oblige to them, it's like, I realize that's how you think, but I'm going to go ahead and proceed as it makes sense to me. That being the case, you're not going to need to match pitch with their anger because they love it. But instead, you want to have that assertiveness. I refer to it as calm confidence. I'm going to go ahead and stay in my forward-leaning direction. And if they can go along with me, that would be wonderful. If not, I'm going to go ahead and be true to what I know is wisest and best. And typically, when they prove willing to double down on their toxicity, that means this is someone that I don't need to spend much time with. I'm going to keep them at as much of a minimal presence in my life as I can get away with. Once you realize how committed these individuals are to their toxicity, and I might actually use a different word, how imprisoned they are by their own toxicity, I'm hoping you can decide, I refuse to expose myself to someone who's psychologically radioactive. Now, I hope that videos like this can give you some good awareness of what you might be dealing with. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, please do so, and we'll keep more videos coming in your direction. I know that many of you find that there's great value in the cumulative effort of having these videos, and so we'll keep more coming in your direction. Know that I appreciate you letting me be on your journey with you. Likewise, if you have a need for therapy, and I know many times as you're trying to sort all this out, it's helpful to have someone who can assist you in that category. I've been sponsored for years now by the people at BetterHelp.com. There's a link below that will take you to their site. There's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that can assist you. It's affordable. It's accessible. I've had good feedback from people who've used that. Please seek the help as the need is there. Likewise, I have my therapeutic courses. This is like signing up for an online class. They're very extensive. Each course has multiple videos, like 25 or more, and each video has written documents, guided questions, and it's meant to walk you through all sorts of growth patterns. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. This is me about establishing those boundaries we're talking about. Free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers. Likewise, we have my webinars that have already been presented, but on our website, you can find those and purchase those. In addition, we have my podcast. We have the books. Their website has many articles, lots of resources for you. Okay, you already know that with that entitlement, with their need to superimpose, narcissists are pretty toxic to begin with. But then when you show yourself to be not interested in participating in that, then they double down on that toxicity. Know what you're dealing with and know who you want to be in reverse. Because you see, they want to rob you of your sense of well-being. But I'm hoping you can decide, my inner peace, my inner resolve is far too important for me to allow someone who's that psychologically off base to set my pace. I'm simply not going to allow that to happen.